Yo, what up? My name is Peter Rosenberg. You're checking out Hit the Floor. But you know that already. You know what I'm saying? So hit the floor. Matter of fact, hit the door. And go through the door like that guy just did right now.
We're here with New York's Hot 97's Pete Rosenberg. He has interviewed many stars, he has his own podcast, and he's one of hip-hop's most precious treasures.
That is appropriate. Yes, you're right. Thank you.
All right, so firstly, how are you finding England and what brings you to our shores?
Not a fan. Not a fan.
Too cold?
It's cold. It's the people. Yeah. The people.
I hear you.
Just, I don't know. You guys are just, what's the word? No, I'm having a good time. I'm making a point to be here because it's a place I always wanted to spend time. And now that I get to do it, it's pretty sweet. And it's kind of like what I picture it would be like, which is awesome and Britishy.
What exactly, why would you want, that's a bad question, but what would bring you here? Is it like the music?
I like the way you started the question.
Yeah, why are you here? That sort of thing.
I just find, I don't know, I mean, there's just always something about the British culture, humor, style, both literally style and just, personality style that I find interesting and charming. And also, the US and England are so intrinsically connected. The bottom line is people relate to people based on language more than any other thing. So I can see someone who looks just like me, and if he's speaking Bulgarian, and then I see someone who looks nothing like me, he's 10 feet tall and he's green, but he's speaking English, guess who I'm going to relate to?
Yeah, instant kingship.
I'm speaking to the guys. So there's a connection between the US and Great Britain, and we're like country cousins. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I imagine you're well-traveled, and you being, can we say it, an ambassador for hip-hop, you've been to different countries who can't even speak English, but they connect through hip-hop. What do you think it is, particularly about hip-hop, that has it's like a global language?
It's just, there's a passion to it, and there's an authenticity to it. And the reason that I got into it, based on where I lived, even though it wasn't a lifestyle that I identified with, most of the artists I heard lived a different life than me, there's a passion, authenticity, and a real experience there that people want to hear more about and feel something towards. And I think that's just universal. I think me getting into it in the suburbs of Maryland is not much less surprising than someone here or in France or in Germany getting into it.
Would you say there's an almost documentary aspect to it, similar to the way people's obsession with The Wire? It's like a life that is so different to theirs, and it's so ground level, gives you from songs about waking up and the state of their mind, that sort of thing. Is it that sort of insight that makes hip hop so attractive?
I think it used to be that. I think it is becoming less that. I think now there are kids who are into rappers who are actually totally similar to them now. So when I was a kid, there wasn't really, save the Beastie Boys, there wasn't really any artist that I could relate to in terms of daily life. That's different now. And now hip hop is so ingrained in its own that, and I'm not saying this is a good thing, by the way, but there's a certain level of, it's just a form of music. And people like the music, they like the beats, they like the songs. So yes, it started with that. I don't think it's always that anymore.
See, I was moving to there, and to the point that there's almost becoming a level of snobbishness to a rapper who talks about being on the block, selling drugs, and it's not over trap beats. Like New York hip-hop, say 15 years ago, is so different to now that people almost look down on stuff like that. And so do you think, as someone who works for Hot 97, that the Drakes and the people who just make fun music, is that a good thing, or does there need to be more of a balance?
I think there is a balance right now. I think it's very balanced, and I don't think the songs that are really super conscious are often going to be hits, and I think that's a bummer. However, people, when they go to clubs, don't want to hear conscious stuff. They want to get drunk. So that's always been like that, and I think it's much more balanced now than it was in 2005, 2006.
Okay, so, but if you take songs like, I don't know, De La Soul and Redman, that sort of, everything to a point has to have a sort of, the auto-tune, a lot of sing-songy things to be a smash hit, where you being a DJ, would you not argue there was a little bit more diversity? And now there's sort of the songs that are here now, and then the sort of very old school hip hop, which is like 15 years old now.
Well, I mean, De La Soul Ooh wasn't really a hit in the US, you know? It was like, it was a mix show hit. It was like people played it at a mix show, but it never fully took off. I mean, I was playing it out when it came out. It didn't fully take off. And furthermore, I'd argue if you listen to Ooh, they're not like, it's not a positive song. They're talking about, they're just talking shit. Like, it's a lot of talking about girls, and I mean, it's Redman. He's talking about titties and this and that. I mean, they're like, he wasn't, you know, they weren't solving the world's ills. So there's always been a place for different kinds of hip hop. Yeah, of course. I wish kids were exposed to more positive stuff that didn't glamorize violence and drugs. But that has been a part of this for a long, long time. And like you said, you know, people's fascination with that lifestyle is a major part of that. So all I'm saying is this. In 2015, we had notable high-selling albums from Kendrick, Joey Badass, A$AP Rocky, you know, J. Cole. A lot of people whose focus, it may not be positive, but it's not it's not all bullshit. And those all came out this year and did well. So, in my opinion, if you look in 2015 and you say of the 4 top rappers, Drake, Kendrick, J. Cole, Big Sean. I could be forgetting someone. I'm sure I am. But let's take those 4. First of all, Drake and Big Sean, it's not like they're all bad. They definitely speak some real stuff, even though they talk party shit as well. And then you have Kendrick and J. Cole, who are almost entirely positive. I think that's a pretty good split. And I would say if we were to go back into 1995, 2000, 2005, and look at the 4 biggest artists and split up who was actually talking about positive stuff and negative stuff, I don't think the percentage would be that high.
All right, so going with that then, do you feel that...
Yeah, that argument was so thorough.
Do you feel that people sort of glamorize, particularly 94, 95, and you know, there's always been good and bad music, the same way there's good and bad music now, and people would say like, "Whoa, Drake will never be Tupac, Drake will never be Biggie," and yeah, do you think that sort of it's just like a form of nostalgia, basically?
No, I think there are certain people who really love that music. And I tell a lot of people when they're like, oh, I love this hip-hop, but I don't love hip-hop now. I'm like, well, then you don't love hip-hop. You love 90s hip-hop. I love 90s hip-hop, and I love 2000s hip-hop, and I love 2015 hip-hop. Is 90s my favorite? Well, it's the most nostalgic for me, so it has a special place. So yes, I do think nostalgia is always a factor. Age is always a factor. And those years were amazing. Things were happening those years that didn't happen previously. New doors were open, so it makes sense.